and the session is now recording. And what I'm going to do simply is go through a couple of things here. If you haven't already heard me, bottom right-hand corner of your screen, if you haven't opened up the Collaborate panel, there's a little icon at the bottom corner. If you hover over it, just click on it, and it'll open up the panel. And right now we're in the chat. So if you clicked on the icon to the far left of that, the little bubble, and you should be able to type in a chat message anytime. So we're going to keep that open. And as I go through the presentation, feel free to type in questions, or I'm going to ask you all to mute your mics for now. And you can, I'm going to lower Albert's hand. Albert, you had a question?
No.
Okay.
I thought it was on.
You raised, okay, good. So if you all could just mute your mics, and let's start in, and this is going to be a relatively brief presentation on creating an assignment, and we will then open it up for questions and see how far we get. So an assignment is a form of assessment. So everybody has their own way of assessing student progress. So it could be through a test. I use both tests and assignments, depending on the topic that you're teaching. Assignments work out really, really well. So you get really good feedback. When you create an assignment, a column goes into your grade center, so you can go to the grade center, view the submission, grade it, make comments to it, and send it to the student. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to share a screen with you and go to just that very thing, creating an assignment. And I'm going to go to my course. So you could do one of two things here. Actually, let me get out of this for a second. Let me go to another course I'd rather do. Let's see if this one, that's that session. Okay, I'll go back there, never mind. Does everyone see my course? Or am I back to the screen? Let me back to share application. Let me go back here, share that screen again with you. I'm sorry. Okay, so what I do in my course, and there's two ways you can do this. There's no right or wrong. It's just what I do is I create an area called course material and assignments and quizzes. And each of my chapters will have a folder. So within that folder, I could add any material relative to that chapter. This is just another way to help you organize your course material. So for example, I have reading assignment, give them the pages and the sections of the book. I have a quiz, and I have a question that's an assignment, and I've assigned the journal to their online piece. So actually, I'm going to back out a second, and let me go back here and I'm going to go to my Chapter 6 news, because I wanted to see the particular assignment I created here. So I created an assignment, and I'll show you how to do this in a second, that's called fake news. I know you've all heard of this term. So I've instructed them in the instructions to watch the videos that are listed below. And these are YouTube videos that I found and put in place for the students to view. It's all on fake news. And by the way, when you do something like that, there are thousands of videos, as you well know, in YouTube. So I found these few I wanted them to view. So I gave them instructions, watch the videos on fake news. I want their thoughts about fake news. You believe it exists? How do you get your news? On social media, network television, cable outlets, newspapers, defend your statement. Simple. So they would click on this, and brings them to a space that defines the due date, the points possible. They see the question again, and a due date I put in that description for them in instructions. Probably a very good thing for you to do. Believe it or not, I've seen you know, the student reviews of a course at the end of the semester, and one student said, instructor not clear on due dates. I don't know how much clearer I can get than nice bold red letters, but anyway, it's a good idea to put that in with your instructions. And so all they have to do from there is a couple of things they can do. They can click on Write Submission, which gives them a text editor. And depending on the length of the response you're looking for, they can do that right here. Or they can browse their computer if they've created, say, a Word document and attach the Word document. Once they submit, that goes into the Grade Center for you to go and grade. And I'll show you a sample of that in a minute. So the other thing you want to make sure that they don't do is type into this comments area. That is really not for them to do. And I've instructed them to do so, but there's always somebody that does that. And I'll show you where that will end up when they do submit the assignment to me. So that's what they see when they click on that assignment. Okay. I always point out, I actually pointed out from the beginning of the semester that check for spelling, grammar errors, etc., because this is a college class. Even though it's a 2-paragraph response, let's say, I'm looking for college writing. Good luck. Okay, so that's just a sample of how they see that. So I've created that within this content area or my folder on news. Some people like to come over to the course menu and say create a content area that says assignments. And they put all the assignments in there for the semester. Okay, we're going to make that available to students and then submit. And just a quick note on basic Blackboard, whenever you add a content area, it goes to the bottom of your list. So let's click on assignments, and I'm at a clean slate. So remember, an assignment is an assessment. So we hover over assessment, click on assignment, and now we can begin creating that assignment. It would be good that you name the assignment, okay? Okay, and then give them instructions here. Okay, so I've given instructions. Read all documentation. Oh, we get that, see, so I'm paying attention here, folks. Read all documentation on how to use Collaborate. Summarize on how to create a session, okay? Now, if I wanted to, even in my instructions, if I wanted to attach a Word document that could contain the instructions or whatever, I can do that as well. It gives you that option. We're going to create a due date. So let's say it's tomorrow at 11:59, which is the end of day. So you just go to the clock and select the time and date here as well. I'm going to change it to 8:30. Okay, so it's due to the 18th at 8:30. Points possible. It's important that you have to fill this out. Remember, anywhere you see the orange asterisk, you have to fill out that information. I'm a base 10 type person. It's easier to calculate grades in Blackboard if you base everything on 100%. And I'll leave it at that for now. So you have to put something there. If you wanted to create rubrics, that's a little more extensive in the assignment tool, but I would simply say my assignment is to read on Collaborate and summarize on how to create a session. So that's pretty straightforward, and the information that they give me should be there, and I could grade it accordingly. So if they give me all of the information I need, I give them 100. If they're missing a few details, I might take 10 points off, etc. Okay. Under submission details, it's an individual submission. It's not a group submission, and it's a single attempt. If you wanted to give multiple attempts, that's typically for a test, but you may want to say multiple attempts, and then you give them feedback, and they could go back, correct something in the submission, and submit again to you. Entirely up to you, but I would keep it simple right now in terms of the number of attempts. Just keep it a single attempt. Some of our folks, if this were an assignment that required, say, a research type paper, a little more extensive than a simple assignment, you can require that it gets submitted through SafeAssign for plagiarism. So that's kind of another detail that you might want to think about in terms of the type of assignment that you're giving. A simple answer a question type of thing is not so much something that would require SafeAssign. But if it's something involving research, SafeAssign obviously goes out and checks all sources, resources of papers that have been submitted through it, and could tag it for plagiarism. And within that, you can have the students view that report. So I wouldn't worry about that right now in SafeAssign. Let's just keep the assignment piece simple right now. Grading options. There is anonymous grading is something we're not going to delegate anyone else to grade either, but anonymous is if you just don't want to see the student's name during grading. That's fine, but you don't have to. Okay, we want to be, if you want to be fair to everyone, let's say you had a student that has been a problem, and you want to be fair to everybody. If you wanted to enable anonymous grading, you just grade it, and you don't know who the person who is submitting it is at that point. Display of grades. Yeah, I think we want to display the grade. You could display, the primary display will be a score, like that 100%, and the secondary display could be a letter grade, depending on your grade schema. Like the college grade schema is what, 90 to 93 is an A-. So if you had put a 93 for their score on that particular assignment, the secondary display would show up as well as an A-. You don't have to do that, but it's an option. We do want to include the grade center and the grade center column for calculations. We want to show the student their grade, and you don't have to show an average or median statistics for this column at all, but we certainly want the student to see their grade. So let me click on that, just move on to the availability piece. Make available to the assignment available to the students, and then you can limit the availability. That's entirely up to you. So my assignments, for example, open Sunday mornings at 7, and they close the following Sunday night at the end of the day or midnight. So that's something to consider, because we don't want that open the entire semester. And if you wanted to track the number of views on the assignment, well, you can certainly do so, but I would assume that because they have submitted it, there's no reason to track the view on the assignment. So once you're done with that, you just click submit, and our assignment appears. Okay, read all documentation, and remember, when I click on that, it takes me to the place that they can submit. Notice that there is no limit to the availability, so I may have made a mistake there. So let me go back, because I want to put that in. I can go back to the right of the word collaborate, and there's a drop-down menu, and I'm going to click on edit. That's going to bring me back to the assignment, and I want to go down, and I want to, what did I do for a due date? The 18th at 8:30. So let's display after the 17th, and I'll say, let's say it was 8 o'clock this morning, and I'm going to display that until I said the 18th at end of day. So now it becomes available at 8 a.m. this morning, and it has a due date of the 18th. Now I just want to show you how this would display if this assignment is made available after, what time is it now, 6:16? Let's say it's 7 p.m. and I'm going to submit that because I made changes. Remember, the submit button is like a save button. You make changes, you must submit the change. So now we can see that the item is hidden from students. It will be available after March 17th at 7 p.m. If we want to check this to make sure that this is working properly and the students cannot see it, we're going to go to our student preview, and we're going to go to assignments, and we notice that there's nothing there, no content to display, because it will not be available till 7 o'clock tonight. It's always good that you, regardless if it's a test or an item like this or a assignment, to check through student preview to make sure things are functioning as you would like them to in terms of availability. Now we're just going to exit student preview and continue. Okay, so again, our assignment, Collaborate, is not available to them until 7 o'clock tonight. What happens with when you create a test or an assessment like this, an assignment, I'm going to go to the Grade Center here, the full Grade Center. Now remember, this is a class that's already being run. It's a different topic, but I'm going to go all the way to the end of my grade book. Okay, and that assignment, Collaborate, is at the very end. When you add assignments or tests, they automatically go to the end of this grade book, just so you know. So if you don't see it within a few rows and columns, you need to go to the very end. It'll be there. Okay. So let me go back here. And I want to go back to this. I'm going to hide this. I want to hide this from my, I'm going to actually delete this from my student because they're going to freak out. They're going to see something in there that didn't belong. Okay, so that's basically creating the assignment, availability, column goes to the Grade Center, and when it becomes available, they click on it, follow the instructions, and submit it. When they do submit that, we can go to a needs grading under the Grade Center. This is the quick way to get to all of those submissions without having to go through the entire Grade Center. As you can see, my Grade Center is really big, and to scroll through all that can be a little tedious. So if I click on needs grading, I'm looking at assignments that my students submitted for this particular assignment. I can just click on the student name, and the response is in front of me because they clicked on Write Submission. If they attached a Word document, the Word document would sit here to the right, but it would also open up here in what's called Box. And so you would actually see a Word document open up. To grade this, we would just simply click in this little option to enter the grade, the attempt. And when you do that, it opens up the Feedback to Learner screen. So once I read this, if I feel there's something the student missed, I can give a grade, I can make comments. It could be a positive thing. Gee, Dante, that was a great response. You hit it, nailed it, type of thing. Whatever. You can add that feedback. What happens when I mentioned earlier, if the student enters their response into that comments area, that text starts flowing in here. So it'll all show up in this piece. And believe me when I tell you, when they do that, it almost all runs in, it looks like all one big sentence. It's really hard to read. So it's crucial that you tell them to enter in either write submission or attach a Word document. Okay, so I'm going to exit this and I'm going to come back. I'm going to stop sharing that screen and come back to you folks. So basically that's how you would create an assignment, make it available, and grade it. It was that simple. I will entertain any questions. Let me go back to the chat and see what's going on here. Okay, so if you want to raise your hand to let me know if you have a question, then I would ask you to open up your mic and to do so. Okay, Carl.
Hi, I got here early and my computer froze up, so I'm late. I probably missed everything, but I want to see if I should continue here. And my main question is, what was it? I'm upset because I missed this.
It's
Is
okay.
this going to be taped so I can get this first 15 minutes, this exact one that I'm on now, or
Yep,
whatever?
Yep, it's recording as we speak, so it recorded
Okay.
all your comments.
Okay.
If that will become available, they will probably, Karen will probably send out information as to where you can find that. But
Okay.
just so you know, Carl, I'm doing this again tomorrow morning at 8.
Okay, I'm not sure if that'll work, but I'll stay in here, and I think I know
Yeah.
some of the preliminaries, but I'm really slow at computers, so thank you.
Yeah, that's no problem. Also at Friday at 12.
Okay, thank you.
But there will be a recording, no problem. And Carl, if I've mentioned this earlier to everyone else, if you find that you need further help and you can't make the sessions, even if you want to watch the video, just email me, ggrandi@ccri.edu, or put in a help ticket, and I'll get back to you and give you a couple of times during this week that I'm available that I can meet. For example, all of you, in case you want to know, Wednesday, tomorrow, between 12 and 4, I'm available, so I can run a session like this. Thursday, between 12 and 4, I'm available. And Friday, between 2 and 4. Excuse me, scratch that. 8 to 12. Or, as we move along even to next week, if you just send me an email, we want to meet again, we can do the demo via Collaborate again. Whatever it takes. Kelly, is there a way to put in an answer key automatically corrected? Oh, in assignments, not that I'm aware of. No. So, no, not that I'm aware of. So it would be looking for, I know like in tests, sometimes you can create a short answer that looks for certain terms, but not necessarily in an assignment. Assignment is kind of an open type of response a student would give you, as opposed to very specific answers that it would correct automatically. No, I would say no at this point. You sure it's not a problem? All right, thank you. So for now, I want you to go down to this bottom center on your My Status. And if you're kind of on board with this, you just click on a happy face. That way I know everyone's getting this information. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Albert. Carrie. So I'll open this up to a little bit of a discussion, and if anybody would want to volunteer as to how they would use the assignment tool. Anyone want to volunteer? Okay, Albert.
You know what? Like I took Collaborate today.
Okay.
Saying, gee, you don't want to have a course like length of over 20, 40 minutes. And, like some of our lectures are 2.5 hours. So I said, well, geez, let me think about that. One of the things I do is a quiz. And by the time we take the quiz and go over the quiz, it's a good hour at least, maybe more. Okay, so then the remaining lecture is shorter. But another thing I do is a pre-lecture assignment. I give them what could be done as an assignment, open-ended. Think for yourself, here's a situation. What do you do? How do you calculate this? Or, what do you think about this sort of a thing?
Yeah.
And I have made that only like 4% of their grade. And if they do it, they get 100. If they don't do it, they get a 0. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe that's a good thing that I can use for this assignment block, because we already have a lab.
Right.
And the lab forces you to do like about an hour's worth of homework for each chapter. So that's 2 hours right there. And this assignment thing would be good because that's going to be another 15, 20 minutes. And then I'll give them a quiz.
Right.
I'll learn how to do that. And then I think I can get to the so-called 2.5-hour thing.
Right. I mean, outside of, say, meeting live like this and Collaborate, which I really like this tool. I think even in terms of office hours, right, you can do that. But there's another way to break up that lecture if you wanted to, is using Medial Lecture Capture to, record 5 to 10 minute segments and put that link in Blackboard that they can watch ahead of time. So yeah, a lot of possibilities. That's a good idea the way you're breaking it up. So the other lab piece, when you said they had, like, say they have a sheet that they go home with 1 week, they come back with information or answers, right, to review in class, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I do a pre-lecture think for yourself thing that I'm going to use on this assignment.
Yep.
And then you give the lecture, and then I have them do like about 2 hours worth of homework, which is like, multiple choice questions that they're going to encounter, say, on an exam after a few sessions.
Right.
So, I mean, that's pretty intense, just that piece.
Yeah, so you can give them a pre-test test through the testing feature. You can meet with them live like this if you wanted them to bring in responses to questions and open dialogue. You can do that. Yeah, there's a lot that you can do within Blackboard. The problem right now is, like, it's really rushing you guys into becoming the experts within a week, but it can be done. I know you guys can do this. You're the topic experts, and just hold on. Yes, Carl.
Okay, great. I think I think the easiest way to do it is stick with what you already have and try to make that into something easy.
Right.
Building exactly on his last sentence there, I have a class that's basically based on major exams, half multi-choice, half essay, and I went through this Responda stuff today, and it makes all the other stuff I've taken I understand this week, but it's completely Greek to me. There's no way I'm doing that. So I wondered, to get around that, what do you think I'd be able to maybe perhaps on my essay thing is to put the essays out maybe as several assignments and get around this Respondus, which is going to be just impossible for me to do, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, you can certainly break up how you assess them. So if the Respondus piece, or even a short essay in Blackboard, creating it in Blackboard, pull that out, do your multiple choice true or false in an online test, and then use the assignment to fill in that. You're going to correct it anyway. So everyone has to do this assignment, or 3, whatever it is that you're putting out there. They answer the question, they submit it to you, you review it, you comment on it, give them a grade to it. So the only thing you'd have to do is, instead of making that 100%, remember I said I base everything on 100%, so those questions with the assignment tool are actually going to make up, they're only part of the 100%. So it's breaking down the point value for each of those questions in the assignment that complete the test.
Yeah,
So
I didn't see the earlier stuff today, but I think I get that. I'll make sure I come back tomorrow and get the beginning of this. This looks like it's useful. Like, if it's breaking down the last 40 points that are multiple or their essay, and instead of having, like, just breaking it down into the answer question 1, question 2, question 4.
Exactly.
We'll talk.
Exactly.
I'll get the beginning of what you did tomorrow sometime. That'll probably be.
Yeah, I mean, I have time, so hang around. Don't go away.
Okay.
So actually, what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna continue recording just in case. But exactly what you said. So if you gave the multiple choice true or false test, then this assignment tool, you can ask the remaining questions that are essays, short essays, however you want to put it, within the one assignment. So you can place 3 or 4 questions within in the assignment, and they would simply, when they respond and submit, they could indicate, number 1 is answering the first question, and you can review it that way. Make the whole assignment the rest of the exam and add up those points. I think that would work fine for you. Absolutely. Makes sense. Am I making sense, Carl?
Yeah, I guess it's all. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know the mechanics of it, but yeah, the whole logic of it. And I've done Blackboard for smaller things, so the mechanics of just which buttons to push, but that's a different question. Yeah.
All right. So if you don't mind, the rest of the folks, I'm going to go back here and share a screen again, so I can show Carl a little bit of this. So let me go back to sharing the screen. I'm just going to go to a particular assignment I use news as my assignment. So I created this assignment called fake news. So you can see how the instructions are laid out. They need to watch these videos below and give them direction. I've asked obviously a bunch of questions in one line here that, again, it's a few paragraph response that they're going to give me their thoughts about fake news if they believe it exists, and yada, yada, yada. But you can be much more specific, obviously. So I'm just going to go here and show you on the edit screen. So within that text editor, you just lay out the questions that you need for them to answer to complete that text. And then technically you're combining the score from this assessment to the test that you gave with the multiple choice type questions.
Yeah, I would just type the 3 essays right in that box you have up there. Yeah, okay.
Correct. Yep.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you.
So all they're going to do is come here to the assignment, click on it, and it gives them the instructions again, so your questions will be visible, and they can click on Write Submission and type their response within this text editor, or they can attach a Word document.
Yes, yeah, on mine they already get the questions a couple days ahead, so I could just tell them to look at the hard copy from my regular Blackboard, and I'll probably put the questions in so they can see it, but it'll be, okay, that's wonderful. That's going to be pretty easy then. Wonderful.
Yeah, so then in your grade center, you're just going to have to create, say, well, the 2 columns will be already created for you. As soon as you create that assessment, whether it's an assignment or a test, it creates the columns in your grade center, and then you simply can look at them and combine them for the total score. Not a big deal.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, that would be probably the easiest thing for you to do. I think that works fine, sure.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Michelle, sorry, Michael.
Yeah, Gene, I went in last night and I actually put in as an assignment. And I noticed that as I was doing it, as I got to the bottom, it turned very dark. Did that mean that I put too much in the box? Like I didn't put instructions. I put March 23rd week, and then I did, I clicked on assignments, and then the first thing, assignment, I titled it, and I said vocabulary quiz.
Okay.
And then I put the items in the box. And as I was doing it, I noticed that when I got down to after a certain period that it turned very dark. But it's all going to be there, correct?
I want to look at that.
Okay.
So
because what I'm trying to do is actually give them the quizzes via assignments, because the test webinar, it just was too much for me.
Okay.
But is that doable, that I can give them these quizzes in the assignments?
So if you put your quiz questions, let's say, in the assignment tool, you have to correct that yourself. It's not going to be an autocorrect situation.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, I had to do that anyway.
Yeah. So I want to look at your course, so don't go away after this. I want to take a look at that. I want to make sure it's in there correctly.
Okay, good, because I had another question, because the last one I closed instead of going out the right place and everything disappeared.
It will.
So
So
will I have to
remember-
recreate it?
Yes. So remember, the submit button is
God.
crucial. Yes. So
Okay,
yeah, you know, it's a learning curve. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
all right, thank you.
But I really want to, you know, don't go away after this. I want to see if we can hook up and check your course. I want to see what you're talking about. So what
Thank
I'm
you.
going to ask you to do is just to stay on the line, if you will. Then I'm going to try to go in to my admin screen and see if I can look at that assignment, make sure it's all there. Well,
Okay,
here's what you can do too. So if you completed it and you think it's in place, simply click on it and see where it brings you. Just like I did here. So let me do this again for you. So if I go to an assignment here, I would want to go in as a student, but you would just simply click on this and make sure you're seeing kind of what the students see. You're going to see the questions, and they're going to have the space to respond. Okay.
Mhm. Okay,
So we'd have to look at that. I want to see what this shows here in your assignment. And
Okay.
it won't take us long. Just hang in there.
thank you.
So yeah, I mean, there's different ways to assess, right? So the test tool is one way. The assignment tool is another. It depends on the type of course you're teaching. My quizzes are all multiple choice, true or false. It works well. Some people use some short answer questions inside their test, but that would have to be manually graded. So this is just another means to assess right now. And if this is what you need to do, the assignment tool to start the method of assessing, then let's start there. It's an easy way to get rolling.